Tonight at 6, the state is notifying patients about a potential breach of sensitive personal information. This data breach affects more than 3,300 people living in or near Tyler, Longview, Marshall, Nacogdoches, Texarkana, and Beaumont. State officials say in January they learned a staff member emailed spreadsheets to their personal email account between September and October of last year. Officials say those spreadsheets contained names, addresses, and health and financial information. The state is providing 1 year of free credit monitoring to people affected by this breach.